think everything's working fine. So, numbers and information already, well, from the numbers and information we already know, there's new official number information that we know now. So, what I learned, I talked about were about Dragon Age Veilguard. And I bring this up because if you scroll down, you read this. What does it say? Second, it's been 10 years since Dragon Age Inquisition. That doesn't mean the Veilguard has been in development the entire time. That's what people don't get it. See, the developer, this is what the developers say right here. The developer mentions actually, in terms of the actual game as you see it now, it's shaped up as it's shaped up today. I would say about 4 years. John, tell me. So, the game was in development for at most 4 years. When somebody say about 4 years, I mean less than. Understand? Sometimes it can be more than, but they'll say more than 4 years. But about 4 years mean less than. So that means around 3.5 years. We also know this when you scroll down even further. There's the so that's let's do final page. Type years. Second 4 years. Alright, let's type plot the Y. Go back to that and scroll down here. Do, 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 do. I seen it earlier. Oh, did I pass it up? Was it here? Here it is. No, this is the same thing. For about 4 years. Is it on here? Might have been getting mixed up with the next page. But on this page, hold on. I forgot I restart. Here. Final page. Bioware spent the next 3.5 years developing what would become Dragon Age: The Veilguard, the fourth game in the franchise series. Again, so we have confirmation. And mind, let's look at the dates when these articles came out. This came out in November, right? This came out in September. So we know since September that Dragon Age: The Veilguard was in development for 3.5 years. And yet people still try to say it was in development for 9 or 10 years. First of all, Inquisition came out 10 years ago. So the game was not in development while they just finished Inquisition. And the developers said themselves it was about 4.5 years. I would say 4 years. So, not 4.5, 3.5 years. This is a guess, so I'm guaranteed it, again, 3.5 years. So, from everything we know, it's been 3.5 years. Now, why do I bring this up? Because I'm surrounded by idiots. So, I did some math. And with 3.5 years of development, somebody said that the average developer costs 122,000. So I did the math. You see up top. This is how much for 100 of them for 3.5 years. Fine. This is, you see, here, 42 million. Now let's do 200 for 3.5 years. 300 for 3.5 years. Do you see? I'm gonna do 200 games because why is 200 on one come out break? You see how much? So people are saying it was in development for 10 years. That's a lie. It was only in development for 3.5 years. But let's do let's do this. Let's do it 4 years. 80, 48 million. And it'll be 88 or 90. And this is a number of developers will be working on it. 150. So you see how low it is when you actually use the actual numbers? What we know is 4.5 years. Average cost of development, how many years they work on that we know of, number of developers. 100? Okay. So you see why you have to do your research. Oh, I'm surrounded by idiots. It just idiots around. So, Andromeda. Another thing, Andromeda, Mass Effect Andromeda was a hit. It's so 5 million copies. Anthem also was a hit, even though people want to say it was a flop. It sold 5 million copies. You need to sell 5 million copies based on these numbers alone. 5 million copies is enough to make profits. 3.5 years. Again, I come with receipts. Don't talk shit to me. I know I thought I could have sworn I read it on here as well. I I read a lot of stuff to make sure I have it. Could it be in the number 3? Nope. Let's see if I put it half. Okay, it goes over all of the stuff. Like the planning was Dreadwolf, but that got canceled. So again, Dreadwolf was canceled. That got canceled a long time ago. Why? From what I found out, um, because of new systems. They had to revamp the whole game. The game was basically shelved for years. And when somebody says shelved, they mean it's nothing's being worked on. They say it's canceled, that means it's not going to be worked on at all. Please understand it. The game was shelved for years. When they thought about start doing work on it in 2018, guess what? They had information that a new system would come out. So they doing work on systems that are about to go outdated would have been a waste of time. Because again, this game, Inquisition came out was PlayStation 3 and 4 or something like that. Veilguards came out on PlayStation 5. They found out the game is about the system about to come out, so it would have made no point in trying to uh it would well it would make very little sense. And let me say that. Here's why. You working on one system and trying to get it work optimized on this one system, doing on other systems will take way more time. So if I'm working on a system and say I want to get for the latest system, I am going to tell my people to just work it. If I want to be on a PlayStation, I'm gonna say, okay, you try to get it to work on the PS5. And if they say, well, we can get it work on a PS4, I'm like, if you can get it work on a PS4 while adding too much time, go for it. If not, don't do it. Just focus your efforts on making sure it work on the latest system. That's what they did. Do, 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 do. So that's Again, people kept saying it was worked on for 9 or 10 years. That's not the case. Here are the actual number. This is just based on what somebody said. I don't know what they were being paid for. I didn't calculate the average of all they paid. I just did what somebody said and put in the actual number that we know, 3 or 3.5 to 4 years. So I went with 3.5. And when you do the math, this is how little it costs. Even no matter how much you double that, this is what's that. Double the number of developers, this is where it came up. So when I say it's sell between 8, 80, and 100 million copies, I did the math. Look, this is you can put 500. Look how much that is. Put it one again. 100. This is how much it costs. 200. This is how much. This is the number of development. This is the year they work on. This is the average that somebody said. So I use their number, and you see it doesn't cost. People are saying this costs twice as much when it was not being worked on. The developer said, where is it? When it full production about 4 years. Veilguard have really only been in full production for about 4 years. Do you understand that? Again, I have to state this repeatedly because I'm surrounded by idiots. I was like, well, how do you know? It's been out for months. We knew this for months. People have already reported it for months. It's been 10 years since the last one. Guess what? They wasn't working on a new one back then. Then when they say that, okay, let's start working on it a few years after that, they found out information that the new system was gonna come out, so they scrapped that. They were gonna try a multiplayer idea, didn't work. And here's another thing: the difference between single and multiplayer. Uh, Single player can be played offline. Multiplayer, most people want to play it online multiplayer, which means the game will have to always be online for you to play multiplayer, or you have to sign in online to be able to play multiplayer. So it's boggling my mind that games that did that you can't play in local co-op, people got upset about that. So they made it. They added that to the game, took more time to develop it. People like yay, but then they get upset about it taking a little more longer to develop. And I'm like, you can't have it both ways. You can't be upset that it takes so long, and be upset that uh, when they don't add that to save on time. And then another thing, people are upset that it's not having DLC. They never say it was going. They say from the start it was going to have DLC. So you being upset that it don't have DLC, and they didn't plan to have DLC, that's not a valid argument.